without hesitation. You should get with this and get your popcorn ready. Boy, you better not miss Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana. Joe P.
Ooh, I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, Baton Rouge, and welcome to another edition of the Louisiana All-American Sports Show right here on 96.9 FM WHYR LP Baton Rouge Community Radio. Today is Saturday, July 8th, 2017, and you're tuned into the 27th edition of the Louisiana All-American Sports Show in the year 2017. Good morning. This is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P.
And this is Derrick Thomas, also known as Daddy Cakeface.
Daddy Cakeface. I'm starting to get used to that. Hey, it's a great day. It's a very sunny day and a very hot day outside, but nonetheless, it's another great day here in the capital city. And of course, we're going to bring you a fantastic hour of content here on the Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Coach Perry Daniels is abroad. He is actually in Cuba. He is abroad, and we will be. So we got the three of us right here in studio to bring that to you, bring the content to you live and in living color, only over the radio. Okay, so look, we're going to start off with some high school news. Derrick, you have some recruiting information for us?
Right. And we have two recruits from Louisiana, one committing and one decommitting and recommitting. The commit is safety Sean Preston out of St. James. He is let's see, I have this here, a 3-star safety, 6'1", 190 pounds, and he committed to Mississippi State. Southern alumnus coach Robert Valdez is proud of his prospect in committing to Mississippi State. And also a decommit from LSU running back A.J. Carter out of Manning, Louisiana, committed to LSU at a camp, but then 9 days later decommitted and recommitted to UCLA. And according to the article, Carter states he felt right recommitted to UCLA because he felt like he made that decision, the first decision to commit, not based on what he wanted, but what other people wanted. But he really wants to be in California. So congratulations to both young men making their college decisions, and hopefully they have a successful football season and starting their college career after graduating high school in May of 2018. So that's all I have for recruiting today.
So yeah, look, we have that information in recruiting, and thanks, Derrick, for keeping us up to date on that and those local boys, and we will of course keep you in tune with that relevant information. We also have high school
breaking news
in high school. Kind of surprising. A big-time friend of our show, Coach Brandon Ricard, who was the head basketball coach at Port Allen High School for the last 8 years. He has resigned at Port Allen, and he is set to he'll be an assistant at Scotlandville High School with Coach Carlos Sample next year. Coach Ricard, of course, he cut his teeth there. He started off as an assistant at Scotlandville many years ago before taking a head coaching job. I want to say it was at Bruley, if I'm not mistaken, but then eventually moved to Port Allen, where he was a fixture for quite some time. The story just broke on Thursday, so we don't have a lot of details available. But nonetheless, Coach Ricard will not be at Port Allen next year. It's kind of surprising when you recount his tenure. He actually attended Port Allen High School, so he has a bit of a native connection there, and he's often mentioned that. 8 years as the head coach there, a record of 145-90 while at Scotlandville. I'm sorry, God, did I just say that? 145-90 while the head coach at Port Allen. He, of course, will be an assistant at Scotlandville. His team was 8-22 last year. This was after making the state quarterfinals 3 consecutive years in 2014, 15, and 16. Very surprising last year. It's kind of unlike his team. He did lose a lot of seniors between 2016 and 2017, and that did, I'm sure that impacted him. Again, they went 8-22. They were able to get into the playoffs under the new structure. We don't have any details. We will attempt to reach out to Coach Ricard and get the story on that. But Coach Brandon Ricard, again, leaving Port Allen High School and will be assisting Coach Sample at Scotlandville. That is going to be one heck of a 1-2 punch at Scotlandville, fellas.
Most definitely,
Right.
most definitely.
I mean, you look at this. They won a state title last year on the Sample, but you add another seasoned, successful head coach to give you a viewpoint on what's happening on the court. That just strengthens Scotlandville's coaching ability, their staff, because to have not only one head coach, but basically two, I mean, with playoff experience, I mean, you have a talented squad on the floor led by, Javonta Smart, LSU commit, but now you have two brilliant coaching minds on the bench. Two seasoned veterans on the coaching sideline. So that's going to only help Scotlandville have two different viewpoints on how to attack you. So, I mean, we look at it as a positive and a negative. Yes, Port Allen is losing their head coach, and Scotlandville is gaining a quality assistant that can help them hopefully have another successful championship season.
Well, I think Scotlandville, didn't really need the help. I would say that with Coach Carlos Samples doing an absolutely fabulous job there, getting to the finals in consecutive every year.
Right.
You can pretty much pencil those guys in. But I look at it from Port Allen's point of view that they're losing a great coach. Of course, we've covered those guys here in the last few years. With Ishmael Lane and, of course, the spark plug.
Right. Telson Allen.
And
Nick
man.
Parker.
And they came so close. And what was the point guard name?
I can see the kid right. Nigel Allen.
Allen, man. So that was a great community. Those guys were real close, and we've had great conversation with Coach Ricard. But only the best of luck to him. Man, it comes at a shock to me. I didn't see that coming. I can't say that.
I saw that when I was reviewing some high school news earlier this morning, and it kind of made my jaw drop. So,
Wow.
I was. Wow. So we'll find out, and of course we'll find out who the next coach is going to be at Port Allen. Those are going to be some very, very, very difficult shoes to fill. As Coach Ricard was, he put together one heck of a program over there with those Port Allen Pelicans. So we should have a guest joining us in a little bit. Derrick, why don't you, get the audience give the audience a preview?
Well, our guest is a good friend of mine named Shanna Claiborne, and she's a local hairstylist. And I got to know Shanna and over the years, and I know she lost her son to gun violence. And I saw this yesterday. She was posting she's having a Stop the Violence basketball camp next week. And she's going to have a former NBA player, Kedrick Brown, is going to be there to help her put on the camp. And when I saw that, I asked her if she wanted to come on and talk about, the basketball camp, and also, the impact of gun violence has had on her and her family. Because later on we're going to be discussing gun violence incident in Baton Rouge, and it's still prevalent today, not only in Baton Rouge, but also across our great country. Gun violence, legal and illegal. And I just figured, having her on to talk about this basketball camp, and also to talk about how gun violence has impacted her life, because as we all know, the Sterling family is still going through their storm regarding gun violence impact on their family. So, she'll be calling in hopefully shortly to talk about her camp. And if you have a young boy or young girl interested in the camp, you'll get all the information from Shanna as she talks about the camp, and also talks about gun violence and things of that nature. So she'll be calling in hopefully shortly, and we can talk about that and move on.
Absolutely,
man. Basketball's been the word for here. Lately we've had the NBA summer league that started. Did you see the 3-on-3 Ice Cube?
I saw a couple of 3-on-3s. I didn't see the one with Cube though. I didn't see that. I saw a lot of overweight, long retired NBA players. I think I saw like Katino Mobley and
Allen Iverson.
That was the same night of Allen Iverson, but I didn't get to see him play. And another guy. another, like I said, a lot of guys who are long since retired appear to be eating well.
Chauncey Billups, Mike Bibby.
I saw Chauncey Billups. I saw him. I saw Bibby. That was interesting. It was kind of fun to watch. It was kind of novel. But I did not get to see Cube. By the way, Derrick, if you want to,
well, Cube's not playing. Cube is the one that created the league.
So that's his baby. I was trying to figure out where that came from. I thought it was a great idea. I mean,
it was called the Big Three.
Right, Big Three. It's on Fox Sports 1. Quite entertaining. The couple of games I got to see. It's like watching a pickup game, but with like former NBA players. Guys who can play ball.
They have a 4-point shot, a 6-point shot.
I like that.
I like that idea too, man. So
and the thing is, one thing since we are talking about it. Former players Chris Jackson, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Yeah,
he's continuing his process. They got him out the league, and he's been killing it in the Big Three. So he still can play. He still has some game.
Well, a lot of those guys do, man. It looks pretty good. It's like you said, it's a half-court game. I like the speed of it. And it's not like regular guys like us trying to get out there. At least these guys are making shots and making plays. Another basketball question I had for Eric, man, I was excited to hear that the Scotlandville recruit, pretty much number one. They call him number one, almost number one in the nation.
Javonte Smart is way up there,
Javonte Smart committed to LSU, man, and of course Brandon Sampson is down there. What do you think about that news? Him staying here.
We chit chatted a little bit last week on that, and let me say that having it's going to be big. Look, Javonte Smart, in all probability, unless he gets hurt or some glaring weakness that nobody has found after all these years appears in his game, shows up. Javonte Smart's going to be drafted in the first round of the 2018 NBA draft. This kid is probably going to be a one and done. So with that being said, I think that it could do a lot of good things for LSU. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week, that we had, it can. First of all, it makes LSU a little more appealing. I'm sorry, I said he'll probably be a first-round pick in the 2019 draft. He's a senior next year. He'll be coming into LSU in 2018. But it's going to help.
Looking at 1 year, you think?
I think so. Unless something shows up that we don't know about right now, because he's on that path. He's on that path to where if they were still drafting kids out of high school, he'd probably be picked. But here's the thing. It's going to help LSU for recruiting, because having a presence like that is going to give you a strong 2018-2019 season. It'll help, I think, recruit the depth on that bench, and it's a big feather in the cap for the recruiting and the coaching staff at LSU right now. So I like it. It's a plus. You always want talent like that, but you have to keep it in the context of this kid is probably only going to be there 1 year, and so you have to utilize it to the fullest capability, unlike, say, Coach Johnny Jones with
had the number one player,
Ben Simmons, and it actually jettisoned his career at LSU pretty much. So you got to manage that carefully. You want to be more like Calipari than Johnny Jones when you have a high prospect like that.
Right, and I can't help but I just want to mention this because we do have our guests on. Joker mentioned Summer League, so Alonzo Ball had his debut last night.
I did see that,
and it was not pretty. Now he threw an alley-oop lob, had a little layup, but man, this man's going to have to start shooting from the three-point line. He went 1 for 11.
Well, he went 2 for 15 overall, 1 for 11, 3 points, and had only 5 points in the game. But I'm going to give him a little slack because it's the first game, Summer League. He has a lot of pressure on him. All the eyes are really on him.
He has nobody to blame but his father.
He's still a kid, though.
Maybe his father should have been quiet and let the boy play basketball.
Well, it is what it is now. So he has to play through it. He's with a historic team, a franchise with the Lakers. And so a lot of pressure is on this young kid to be great. And so I'm going to give him a little slack right now. It's only the first game. It's just Summer League, and so let's see how he does.
Yes, indeed, and we have our guest on. Shanna Claiborne is on. So, I talked to you about who Shanna Claiborne is and her reason for being on the show. She has a basketball camp that she is putting on in memory of her son. Shanna, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. I'm doing great. And what about yourself?
I'm doing awesome, man. When I me and you've been friends for a while, and when I saw you post this basketball camp, I thought it would be something awesome for you to come on and talk about your camp, just to spread the word and just tell people what this camp represents for you and your family. So go ahead and talk to us about your camp, and you can talk about your son.
Okay, thank you. But basically, my son, Shanna Claiborne, was at a party 3 years ago, and you probably heard of it, at the Baker Civic Center, and where 3 teens that night lost their life on March 29th. And 3 teens lost their life, and my son was one of the innocent bystanders of shooting. And it took a while for me to be able to come up with something to be able to do in his honor. And since he was a basketball star at Baker High School, and after they retired his jersey, I wanted to be able to do something in his memory. And so we started this basketball camp, and this is going to be the first year of this camp and many more years to come. But we wanted to be able to have something for the kids to be able to do, because I just remember when I was coming up, we had always had some type of activity, just something for us to just keep us busy and keep us active. And we have lost a lot of that in our community. So I wanted to kind of start something, to have something the kids for them to do and be able to contribute back to the honor of my son, of what the love that he loved to do was basketball. And so the camp will be held on July 15th. And the time will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Baker Middle School gym. We taking ages 8 to 17. We only have a limited slots available, so registration forms are available. We have our special guest. We have a former NBA player from the Celtics, Kendrick Brown. He's wonderful with the children, wonderful, and was willing to help and teach, our kids. And we also have the LSU guard, Brandon Sampson, who just been drafted. Yeah. So we're going to have just a great time, great fun, and it's not just for boys, it's for boys and girls. So if you're interested, you can call me at 225-229-1749 to receive a registration form. The camp is $15 for the day. It will include their lunch, it will include their after meal, and it also include a T-shirt as well. Awards will be given out. We're going to have amazing coaches. We have coach from Baker High School. We have their varsity coach. We have...
Is that Coach Jamie Holmes? Coach Jamie Holmes is going to be there?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. Yep.
Yes, and we also have Coach Williams that's also going to be in the building as well. My godbrother, Mayor Waits, won't be able to attend, but he's helping in all possible areas. We have Gerald Collins is also going to be partaking with the kids as well. So we have an amazing group of men that's going to be working with our kids this year. And we're just so excited. The kids are so excited. Some kids that want to attend, they'll be out of town, but, we'll have others coming up. So this is going to be our first one, so we're just excited. So hope we can get more response through the show and people can come out to be able to enjoy it.
And let me just make sure I repeat that, because, of course, on the radio, sometimes you hear something and you want to write it down and you don't have your pen or paper. I just want to repeat that number is area code 225-229. Yes. Stop me if I mess it up. 225-229-1749. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the title of the camp, one more time?
The title of the camp is Shanna Claiborne Stop the Violence Basketball Camp.
And, okay, and it's going to start on July 15th, is that correct?
Yes, it's a one-day camp. We're doing a one-day camp from 10 to 4.
And is there any cost to attend the camp?
The camp is $15 for the cost, and that just goes back into the camp for the kids with their shirts, their meals, and all the things, all the extras that they'll be receiving at the camp.
Oh man, I love the idea. That's fantastic. I love the idea because not only is it a basketball camp, but it also seems to be a gathering and almost like a mentorship combined. So it's not only just someone coming out teaching you or teaching the young kids certain skills and how to conduct themselves, but it's also a memoriam for DeAndre Claiborne and a mentorship. And so I love the idea.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Shanna. Hopefully we have some listeners. If you're interested, give Shanna a call. You can also, I saw it on Facebook, Shanna. Did you make the post public maybe so more people could see it, some of our listeners?
Yes, the post is public and it's under Shanna Claiborne. You can also find the post under Joe Scott as well. That's my other son that's helping me put it on. And so you can just DM me if you just look up my name, Shanna Claiborne, and just DM me for the information. I'll be glad to send you the information.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, July 15, 2007, you're going to have the DeAndre Claiborne Stop the Violence basketball camp, ages 8 to 17 at Baker Middle Gym from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Special guests would include former NBA player Kendrick Brown and LSU guard Brandon Sampson. The cost is $15, which will cover your T-shirts, meals, and other goodies that you will receive for participating in the camp. So come out next week and in about 5 days and get some mentoring, improve your basketball skills, and just fellowship, in remembrance of DeAndre Claiborne. Because Shanna, and with me being a friend of yours, me and you had several talks about your son. And how you have been, dealing with this, and how you, feel about this. I know we're gonna be talking about Alton Sterling later. Shanna, would you like to participate in that conversation later? Maybe talk about what you feel about that situation. I mean, you can call back in. I can give you hit you up and let you know when we get to that. You can call back in, and as you being a mother, even though this is a different situation, you can speak on the impact of losing your son to gun violence, like a lot of mothers have been experiencing lately. So
you can just stay on and participate in the rest of the show. You don't have to hang up.
Okay, all right. Well,
you can hang around.
You can talk some sports with us. And you should be used to it. You worked in a barbershop when we'll be talking about sports and Mr. Carter. So so you should be to chime in on some of the basketball tidbits that we're gonna be speaking about since you're having the basketball camp.
Sure.
All right.
So yeah. Look, thank you very much for sharing that with our audience.
Yeah.
These are the kind. We are a community radio station, and this is actually one of the perfect mixings of sports and community because this is a sports event going on in the community. And I'll tell you, if you have a young, even a teenager, a kid, or a preteen, or a teen that likes basketball, boys or girls, this is a great opportunity on a Saturday. And hey, parents, you get a little stuff done that day. $15, it's worth it.
You get a T-shirt.
So you get a T-shirt,
and they get fed.
Yeah. And then if you got an 8, 9, 10-year-old, they're gonna be tired by the time they get home, not running all over the place. So no, it sounds fantastic. It sounds like a lot of fun. Those are some great folks. Brandon Sampson being there, and former NBA player. Is it Kendrick Brown?
Yeah, Kendrick Brown.
And of course, Coach Jamie Holmes of Baker High is a great guy with young people. He's a friend of the show, so that just sounds fantastic. That's next Saturday, folks. And again, that number to get in contact with Ms. Claiborne if you have questions is 225-229-1749. 229-1749.
All right, so we're getting ready for our song of the day, right?
Yeah, we have our song of the day. I don't think they allow. If Perry's listening online, he might faint when he hears that I picked out the song. But I picked out a couple of winners, and this one is leading right into our. It's in line with our typical mission here at Louisiana All-American Sports, and leads in to our social topic. And Derrick, go ahead and just play that file that sent you over the email. These are. This song is called, it's entitled the Alton Sterling Tribute by RJ, Johnny, and Shiz Dollar. In parentheses, you could probably put No Justice, No Peace in the title. Derrick, take it away whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah. R.I.P. Alton Sterling. We need to together like they come together. Stick together like they stick together. Cause I'm my brother's keeper. Screens to beyond. Stand up right now, show them people exactly who you are. Cause it's time to go to war. No peace. Screens to beyond. Stand up right now, show them people exactly who you are. Cause it's time to go to war. Time to wake up, time to wake up, time to come together. They'll never beat us, nah, cause we won't let them. No, we not gonna let this slide. No, you can fetter. Yeah. Why'd you have to take my brother? Why'd you have to kill him? He was out there selling CDs trying to make a living. 6 shots to the body, 9 family miss him. And it's so hard to make a difference when you're born a victim. Lord, please forgive them. Tell me what we did them. They take us from our mothers, sisters and brothers. They take us from our kids, then holler self-defense. It's time to take a stand, create a different plan. R.P. to Arthur Sterling, they don't understand. No peace in the streets to beyond. Stand up right now, show them people exactly who you are. Cause it's time to go to war. No peace in the streets to beyond. Stand up right now, show them people exactly who you are. Cause it's time to go to war. 24 with 2 strikes, my mama's biggest fear is me dying on my due life. All in my sleep, I see the red, white, and blue lights. With all this wrong going on, it's hard for me to do right. It's so hard for me to do right. Got a Martin Luther King dream, but if I speak my mind, man, they gon' ride the king me. Beat me like a slave, put me in the handcuffs, then hit me with the taser. Of course, we act like animals, that's cause you keep us caged up. You hide behind that badge, cause the heart you never had. Rest in peace to Elton Sterling, and nigga, that's somebody's dad. And they took him from his family, ain't nothing fair about it. They about to start killing us cause the prison's overcrowded. No peace in the streets and beyond. Stand up right now, show them people exactly who you are. Cause it's time to go to war. No peace in the streets and beyond. Stand up right now, show them people exactly who you are. Cause it's time to go to war. It's time to go to war. Stand up right now. Stand up right now. No justice, no peace. R.I.P. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Wow, that was an amazing song, gentlemen. Amazing song.
I thought it really spoke to the point. So I was trying to find something that could encapsulate what happened and kind of the general feeling, and I think kind of stumbled on the gold there. So again, that was Alton Sterling tribute (parentheses No Justice, No Peace), R.J., Johnny, and Shiz Dollar. So look, that leads us into our social topic. On July 5th, 2016, during an altercation outside of the Triple S Mart on North Foster Drive, Alton Sterling was in an altercation with police officers Blaine Salamone and Howie Lake, and resulted, of course, in the Blaine Salamone was the trigger man. He shot and killed Alton Sterling. Much of it was caught on video, and of course that was when any innocence that was remaining in the summer of 2016 was completely blown off the roof. It started a string of protests throughout Baton Rouge and throughout the country. Also, there were later strings of police shootings in protests and shootings in Dallas. And, of course, shortly thereafter, 3 Baton Rouge police officers were shot and killed that same month by an assailant from out of town. It was just one. Coach Perry Daniels said this shortly before, about a month or two before that at the rate things were going with police violence and the lack of accountability, that it was going to be one long, hot summer. And, oh, my goodness, were those words prophetic.
Most definitely, man. When we think about that with Alton Sterling, and, of course, the new Black Panther Party was down here doing a protest in front of the police station, and they got arrested. Once again, I think it was 7 of them that got arrested. And you see the footage, man. You still see the static between the protesters and the police. And it's just, it's so frustrating right now. A day after Alton Sterling got killed, Philando Castile was murdered in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we've already had an outcome within the year of the cop at least getting some charges brought to him, even though he was acquitted. But here in Baton Rouge, we haven't heard anything.
Not a thing.
And it's been a year.
From Alton Sterling. And it's been a year.
It's been a year.
It's been a year. And to juxtapose both of them to say where not only was Alton Sterling killed, but it was a day after supposedly, quote-unquote, Independence Day. Right. 4th of July.
Literally, literally hours after
Independence Day. And so just the climate with what we see in America and the things that's going on. We recently had the other night, DeJuan Guillory was killed under suspicious circumstances here in Evangeline Parish in Mamou. And so, we got that thing going on. And so this just seems to be just an ongoing thing, So,
well, I want to. Everyone kind of knows our opinions. We still have our guests on, Shanna Claiborne. Shanna, tell us, what do you think about the Alton Sterling situation and the lack of quote unquote justice being served with the outcome?
Well, I'm definitely not happy with it. I really just think it's all about a policy spin, just giving us just a runaround. And I just really feel like they just the family just needs some peace, and closure. And them not coming out with what they're going to do with the verdict is just outrage. And I just feel for, his family, his children, concerning the situation of them they just want to know, we all want to know, what are you planning on doing? And just stop jerking us around, as I want to say, with the outcome. I'm just not happy with it at all.
Right. Well, see, my point of view is other officers see this. They see nothing has really been done. I mean, to connect the situation with Guillory's situation, there are some rumors behind that. Maybe that, I don't know if I can speak on that.
You can speak on whatever you want to speak
on. Just cite your source, that's all.
Well,
speak on
according to Pinpoint News, Daniel Banguel, the officer that shot Guillory, they said that they had a history. And, this officer sees, well, these officers got away with it. Maybe I can too if I say that something was happening. But there is no video in this case. The thing is, something needs to be done to deter officers from taking advantage of their badges, to inflict fear on people, and in some cases inflict death. That's what's been occurring. People are losing their family members. And I understand, police officers have a tough job, but you have to do the job with ethical standing and integrity. And we're not getting that. We're not getting that.
Well, a badge is not a hunting license.
Right. We're not getting that, and that's something that I feel needs to be addressed. And I feel like on all levels of policing, because there's the buddy system. The buddy system needs to be gone. You need to be ethical.
That blue wall is a fool,
you need to be ethical. You need to have a stand ground. If an officer does something wrong, just because he's your friend or he may have saved your life, it shouldn't matter. There needs to be justice for the public, because police officers are public servants. We pay their salaries, so. They need to, I think they need to exercise restraint before putting their lethal weapons.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just think they need to exercise more restraint.
And how do they do that?
I read somewhere where they said the last 3 shots that were fired into Sterling were justified. How? When he was shot 3 times and when someone is shot, I've never been shot, thank the Lord, but when someone is shot in the front or the back, they're going to be gasping for air. They're not going to be able to comply with you. At that point, they could have gotten to Sterling, arrested him, and then rendered aid. Let the ambulance get there, let them get him in stable condition, and then arrest him if you feel he committed a crime. He was not given an opportunity to. They shot him 3 more times, saying get on the ground when he's already on the ground.
He didn't reach for the sky after the first shot. I don't know what they would think. I'm saying that very tongue-in-cheek. Here's the thing, Derrick. I agree with what you're saying. Yes, not only should police use restraint, in almost every law enforcement agency everywhere in America, lethal force is considered a method of last resort. The thing is, that's not what is happening. And there needs to be accountability with teeth. We know that cops, it's going to be hard to convince. I'm convinced. I said this, I think, in the last case we discussed. After the Phil Castile case, I said, look, we're not putting these guys aren't going to jail. They're not getting convicted in criminal court. They have a heightened protection of the law because of the inherent danger of their job. That doesn't mean that there still should not be some consequences, like being fired, like fiscal, exposure, personal liability. That there needs to be there need to be consequences, and right now nothing's happening. These guys are getting paid vacations, leave with pay, and they're not. In the case of Howie Lake and Blaine, the Trigger Man Salamone, there are no charges being brought. There need to be consequences. It has to be both codified in policy and in law, and the enforcement needs to be happening, and we need to see this. And one of the things, besides the fact it's been the 1-year anniversary since the Sterling shooting, one of the things that kind of prompted me to discuss this topic today is that we're not seeing any action. We're not seeing any changes. Nothing has really changed in the last year. We had all the protests and all the, the cameras on and all that stuff and all that kumbaya and whooping and hollering, and not a doggone thing has changed. The officers still on the payroll. No indictments have been brought. And I'm glad that they added the body cameras to the BRPD. That is a substantive change. That's about it, though. The mayor's calling for the firing. You got people in the newspaper writing that she's premature, and I find that incredibly questionable considering the circumstances. So I can talk a lot. You all know this, so I'm going to shut my mouth and pass the mic around. But the reason I brought this up, like I said, is it's been a year we've gone through all this hell and high water and nothing's changed.
Right. Well, Shanna, you have any comment?
No, I'm agreeing with what he's saying, because you see everything that's going on and there hasn't been no change. And it doesn't even matter if you even do proper techniques. The thing that happened with Alton Sterling, the altercation shouldn't even went that far.
Right.
It just shouldn't even went that far. I mean, his hands was in the air. He was standing up there. You had time. It's 2 officers. You had time just to arrest him. It just shouldn't have went that far. It just went it just way too far. You know?
And I agree.
And nothing is being done. Nothing is being done. And it's just waiting on the next case. And the next one. And the next one is going to be a repeat of this thing until something is being brought to justice.
Right. And, having you on, as makes me think about another mutual friend of ours who has gone through something like this, losing their son to law enforcement violence. And I'm pretty sure you know who I'm going to mention, Ms. Linda Johnson. Hopefully I can try to get Ms. Linda on to talk about that ongoing situation she has, losing her son while he is in jail. It just makes me think that, can we really trust law enforcement? We should be able to, but in jail, out of jail, in custody, in the back of a car, handcuffed, hands up.
I call most law enforcement, I call it 90-90 trustworthiness. What does that mean? 90% of them, 90% of the law enforcement, 90% of the time I do feel comfortable with, you can trust. I think most of these guys are out there to do their job, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the problem. I think this is another, I hate to keep rehashing old points I made, but hey, not everybody tunes in every week. The problem is that 10% can do a whole lot of damage, and create a whole lot of strife. And look at what our city went through last year. That 10% is causing 100% of the problem. I'm kind of pulling some numbers up here, but the point I'm trying to make is when you have that much power entrusted in a single civil servant, it doesn't take but a tiny number to create a tremendous amount of damage, and a tremendous amount of turmoil, social turmoil in a city, which is what we've gone through. So Derrick says, can we trust law enforcement? look, I think, like I said, 90% of the time, I think they're just doing their jobs. But it only takes a couple of bad apples to not just spoil the bunch, but to create a whole lot of havoc.
Right. You hit it right on the head. One apple can spoil the whole bunch, and with great power comes great responsibility. And I think that it starts not only it starts from the top. We have Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and he's putting the law that he's not even going to investigate these police departments. We look at not only the DA and the police department having, they're colluded together. So a lot of times district attorneys don't want to bring charges to these police officers. And I think that with great power comes great responsibility. To me, that means that if a police officer does something wrong, he should get double. It should be where, an incentive for them not to do it, not a slap on the wrist, but hey, you're out there with the public, and then first thing you're going to say is, oh, I was afraid for my life and this and that. It needs to be better training. It needs to be someone who has access to the urban community. You should have experience dealing with black people. If you're a guy that just graduated out of high school and you're 18 years old and you come from, from the suburbs and you never had interactions with black people, then you should have more psychological tests. The vetting of the hiring should be a lot more detailed. That's number one. I think in New York City you have to have a college degree to even get on the NYPD. I think that's a great idea. Someone who has more experience in life. But to give a person 18 years old a gun and to have them come out and patrol, and also the dynamic between the urban community and the police. I've said this before. It's like cowboys and Indians. This is not nothing new. This has been going on since, years and years. Rodney King was 25 years ago, and that was on video. And we see things on video now. We're looking at it, and they still saying, oh, well, that's not what happened. This is what happened. We're seeing it on video. So it's like they're telling us they got these cams and all that. All that, it doesn't even matter the way things are going. They have to change the dynamic of the police department and from the top all the way down. And, until you change that dynamic, because y'all young black people, I don't care. I'm from the hood. All young black people look at police a certain way. And most police, I'm not going to say all, but most police, when they see a young man with his pants sagging, or he has dreadlocks, or he's a young African American, they look at them a certain way. They stereotype them. And we stereotype the police. You said that most of them are good. I know a lot of policemen, too, that are good people. But at the end of the day, if I stand by with you and you commit a crime, they're going to say, well, you should have said something. They're going to lock me up, too. But they don't do the police that. Even though the policeman may not have been the one who perpetrated the crime, but this guy is a bad apple. And if you don't say nothing, then you're complicit with it. And I have to look at you, too. Yeah, if you're going to stand behind the blue wall and say, well, I'm going to just be down with the police. Oh, I didn't do it. But you know what was going on. People know who the bad cops are in their division, but they don't step out and say nothing because they don't want to
be ostracized.
They don't want to be ostracized. But at the end of the day, hey, you have to make a stand.
There's some things that will change and some things that will not change. I don't. After we have thanks to what for mankind is the relatively recent invention of cinema. We have years and years and years and years of documentation and dramatization. We know the blue wall's never, ever going away, as it would be in any non-civilian cultures, military or otherwise. So we know that culturally isn't going away. We've seen that it is very difficult, extraordinarily difficult, to bring criminal liability against these folks. But there can still be, I thought there was more justice in what happened in Ferguson than there ever was in what's happened in here in Baton Rouge and other places, because in Ferguson that guy was terminated. He was shamed. He's not been able to get another job in law enforcement ever again. He's moved out of town. He's hiding. He's on the lam like the gangsters do. Did he go to jail? No. But his life is crap, for lack of a better term. And while that's not justice in the court sense, that is, if that happened more often, more frequently, you're going to think twice before doing something stupid, that your life can get messed up, that you won't be able to provide for your family.
Well,
that is a consequence that can happen, because I hate to be the cynic. Yeah. I just don't think the blue wall's changing, and I don't think
it's not. And you're
criminal
right,
liability is
Eric. It's not going to change, but also it's the people. See, it's the people. You know, we're really divided as a country when we really look at it. You know, a couple of days ago, Ray Tensing, which was a University of Cincinnati police officer, had his second mistrial. He shot this guy in the head, pulling him over on video. And so the jurors have decided that he is not guilty. So those are people. So, we're divided as a country. It just seems to me like, at the end of the day, when we, just like they found the guy not guilty killing Philando Castile. They found Betty Shelby not guilty here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They found all of the cops not guilty and acquitted all the cops for Freddie Gray. Even at least Freddie Gray parents, Baltimore was able to give her $6 million. At least with Philando Castile, they gave her some money. Alton Sterling, I don't think they gave.
Nathaniel. Yeah. Now there's a suit ongoing. I do believe.
That's what they're going to come with next. They're going to try to give her or give the family Alton Sterling some money. But at least they didn't give it. It's been a year. Yeah. It's been a whole year. The federal investigation already department had already investigated. They found no liability as far as Howard Lake or Salamone, and so now here comes the state. We still have the same officer. We still have the same sheriff. He's still in there. So, until we change the way that our mindset is and the way this is going to continue to happen, all it is doing, it is just making more tension between the black community and the police department. That's all it's doing. And this is going to continue to happen. This is not nothing new. We've just had the one Guillory and Mamu. A lot of these small towns where all of the cops know each other, all of this, all that dynamic has to change.
When the town gets smaller, that blue wall gets higher.
Exactly. Right. So, man, they cut a guy's head off here in Mississippi and put his head on the porch. Another guy in Mississippi was found lynched, young black man on a tree. This thing has been going on underground and subliminally here in our country, and it's continuing to happen. The race relations here in America are at an all-time high. The tension is at an all-time high. I'm just going to call it.
It's not 1960.
Well, I'm not
going
to say
2017. It's not 1967.
I don't mean for as the riots, but we've been having some things that's been going on. It may not has been as bad as segregation.
I think in our lifetime, Joker. I think you're right. I do agree with you.
But it's been some underlining things we've been seeing here, not only just with the Trump. Just, all the way on down, man. I'm just going to call it like it is.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, ready to move on to NBA?
Yeah, no, okay, Joker put a good button on that one.
That's my spiel for the day. That's my frustration, man. Because
we want to thank you, Shanna, for joining us today. And everyone, if you're listening, please check out the DeAndre Claiborne Stop the Violence Basketball Camp July 15th at Baker Middle from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Shanna, thank you again, and you're welcome to always check us out and listen or come back as a guest whenever you feel.
We appreciate you.
Derrick. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for
great.
coming on. Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
So that was
NBA free agents.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead. We got to bring it in right, man. We can't just be jumping all over the place here. But no, look, we do have some NBA action going on, and so with that, we're going to go ahead and get it introduced proper like. There we go. Yep, a lot of action. NBA free agency is like the soap opera after the soap opera of the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals, as we have a lot of activity going on. Of course, we did discuss last week the big whopper of the Chris Paul free agency defection to the Houston Rockets. That was a big story. And what people do for money, we talked about that a little bit. We had some divided opinions. Well, I'll tell you what, the ultimate barbershop, it's more barbershop conversation, as there was a lot going on in free agency. I'm just going to throw a few out there. I'm just going to throw several out there, and I'm going to do like they do. I'm going to throw the bait out there and just let y'all chew on it before I offer my opinions. We have Gordon Hayward to the Boston Celtics. Oh, my goodness. That is a rich getting richer kind of thing right there. That we also had Derrick Rose to the Clippers. Ricky Rubio.
Derrick Rose to the Clippers?
To the Clippers.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Ricky Rubio to the Jazz. Rudy Gay to the Spurs. Kelly Olynyk to the Miami Heat, and ESPN is reporting that, number one, Carmelo Anthony will not be in New York next year, and that the most likely destinations for him will either
Cleveland.
be Houston or Cleveland. So with that, I'm just going to throw that bait out there and let y'all chew on it.
I'm going to bite on the first bait that you threw out there. Gordon Hayward. Guess what they're doing to his jersey in Utah? They're giving it the LeBron treatment. They're burning his jersey and calling him Trader Hayward. They call him Trader Hayward.
Well, that's the fans. That's the fans doing
those
that.
fans are hot.
But I'm gonna tell you,
fans are passionate.
They are.
But I'll show you the dynamic between his owner, Utah's owner, and Cleveland's owner. Utah's owner took out a full-page ad to thank Gordon Hayward for the service that he's done, and he was a great ball player for Utah. Unlike the owner of Cleveland, that
Dan
wrote
Gilbert.
a letter. Dan Gilbert wrote a letter to, and that just shows you the dynamic between those owners.
And here's the thing: Dan Gilbert is a member of a species that is the offspring of a horse. And no, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a jackass. That's
And he's cheap too because he offered Chauncey Billups less than half of what a normal president of basketball operations is supposed to make. So
to catch our audience up, Dan Gilbert fired the GM that built together the Cleveland team that made the finals 3 straight years, who LeBron was very fond of. Brought a championship. That's right. Not really sure if he's trying to run LeBron out of town again. Don't know. He did go to Chauncey Billups, who is I think he'll probably be in the Hall of Fame one day as a player, but is also cutting his teeth as an executive, and offered him about half the going rate even for a new general manager. So that's where Derrick is going with that. That's the owner of Cleveland, who is just working so hard to lose, it seems like.
Yes, I do want to mention one other free agent deal, and it involves a Baton Rouge native. Baton Rouge native Langston Galloway signed a 3-year, $21 million contract with the Detroit Pistons. So congratulations to Langston Galloway. I made some contact with Mr. Galloway to see if he would want to come on the show, and still waiting to get a response back. It would be cool to get him on to talk about his NBA journey, because I think he started playing for the Pelicans in New Orleans.
That's right.
And then he went to the Clippers. Now he just signed a big $1 million contract with the Detroit Pistons. So congratulations to you, Mr. Galloway. If we have any of your family listening, see if you all can get him to come on the Louisiana All-American Sports Show and talk about his contract and what it means to him to be in a position where he can have a solid financial footing and continue his NBA career.
I need to retract something I said earlier. I made a mistake. Derrick Rose did not sign with the Clippers. He met with the Clippers.
Okay. I was going to say.
Okay.
But we also have an old man Vince Carter signing.
Yes.
Vince Carter signed a 1-year, $8 million deal with Sacramento. Now,
brother's trying to get paid.
Well, here's the thing. He's not worried about Vince Carter didn't have a ring, right? I don't think he has a ring, right? You would have thought he would have signed with a contender. Either Golden State or Cleveland or Boston.
Brother's trying to get paid.
Well, he's 40 years old, still has some spring in his leg, doesn't dunk as much.
Still shoot.
He shoots threes now. He can still take you out the dribble, still play a little D. If you're that old, still in the NBA, I understand you still want to get paid. He should have money. He should be going for the ring, baby.
Bro.
Go for the ring.
Let me say this.
Did they want him though? So that's
first,
number one.
Well, $8 million. Look, he probably. I do look. $8 million. The veterans minimum at his is like what? Think about $2 million or something like that. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Golden State $2 million. Sacramento $8 million. Now, yeah, a ring is great. But that's the difference of $6 million, and that ring ain't worth. It depends on what your values are.
Well,
and that ring does not cost $6 million.
Well, Golden State wasn't calling for
I'm just kind of making it up hypothetically. In other words, take the veterans minimum somewhere, or get paid. Get a desperate team like Sacramento to offer you a large sum of money. And I never heard a guy say, you know what, I just don't need that $6 million. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what's surprising to me is these mega contracts. The way that the salary cap now has went up. And these guys are signing mega, huge deals, just like Otto Graham signed 100. He only averages 13 points a game. Otto Porter. Mm-hmm. And he signed for $100 million. And Jeff Green just signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right. You remember Jeff Green. Mm-hmm. He only signed for $2.2 million for 1 year. And here it is. Vince Carter's 40 years old, and he signs for 1 year for $8 million. And so it's just amazing to me. Also, Shaggy P signed with Golden State Warriors.
Seriously?
Yeah, he signed for 1 year for $5 million. I think that is a good sign.
Just makes them deeper.
What's his real name? Nick
Young.
Young, that's right.
Yeah, and I think that's a great trade for them. He can come off the bench. He shot 40% from three-point last year, and so now they got some three-pointers that can come off the bench when those other guys goes out the game. And so Golden State is just set up right now to pretty much have a dynasty. I don't see any other team right now that's coming close to these guys now. Word is that Boston Celtics are trying to get Marc Gasol. Now, if they get Marc Gasol along with Hayward,
it's on.
Then they can challenge Cleveland.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Cleveland's front court is not strong at all.
Well, I mean, Cleveland's going to always be okay in the East. There's no one to really challenge them.
But now with Boston gets that kind of firepower,
Unless they get Carmelo.
Well, here is who I think Cleveland should go after, because they need shooting. Yeah, they got Jeff Green. They re-signed Korver. They signed Jose Old Man Calderon. But I saw this last week, and I had a discussion with a good friend of mine. We actually had a good argument about why I mentioned Cleveland. Of course, Jamal Crawford was also rumored to be going to Golden State. Either him or Swaggy P. Well, it ended up being Swaggy P. Jamal Crawford was traded to the Hawks. I can't remember who he was traded for, but then the Hawks immediately bought him out, and he became a free agent. So that was music to my ears, because my friend who I was arguing with, she's in Atlanta. So she wanted him to go to Atlanta. I said, well, he wants to play for a contender. The Hawks are not a contender. He was traded to the Hawks. Now he's been bought out, free to sign who he wants to sign with. I think it would be awesome for Cleveland to pick up Jamal Crawford, because he's not necessarily known for his defense.
The quality
guy.
He's a scorer. For his shooting.
Right.
Yeah,
and that is what Cleveland needs.
Quality player.
When LeBron goes to the bench, they need someone to put the ball in the hoop.
Because they have good defensive players. Yeah. Tristan Thompson, LeBron James is one of the best defensive players in the league.
Tristan Thompson. The Kardashian curse has been rearing his head all week. I'm mentioning Tristan Thompson.
Well, I mean, I think Cleveland, with Shannon Fry, they had Kyle Korver. They just re-signed Kyle Korver. They had shooting.
He can shoot.
They had a lot of three-point shooting. Kevin Love was a great outside shooter, three-point shooter.
Good
They're trying to get Carmelo Anthony. The only contenders that they have, I think, is Cleveland in the East and Boston, perhaps. And in the West, Golden State, San Antonio is always going to be there.
Out, right?
But I like what Houston is doing. Houston is making a big move. And if they can get Carmelo Anthony along with CP3 and James Harden and the moves that they're making, then they can possibly challenge Golden State. But I don't see it.
Don't forget about PG-13 and Russ MVP now.
Who is that?
That's going to make an awesome
tag team. Who you mean? Oklahoma? Oh, no. They're basically just replaced Kevin Durant. I mean, and not even a better. Right. Paul George is not better than Kevin Durant. So when Kevin Durant was there with Westbrook, that was a tag team. So now they just brought Paul George in. He's less than Kevin Durant.
It does make him
a better defender than Durant, though.
It makes him a wild card.
But he's not MVP. Kevin Durant was MVP.
You're
Paul
correct.
George is
two different players.
It makes welcome to the Louisiana All-American. Welcome to the Louisiana All-American Barbershop right here on 96.9.
One is better than the other.
I do want to just not correct, but kind of clarify. The veterans minimum for the 2017-18 season will be for Vince Carter, for a 10-year veteran, is $2.7 million. So that's about more than a $5 million difference. So if you had a contender that offered him the minimum and Sacramento said, hey, we need some Vinsanity here. Here's $8 million.
Now, one player who did do that was, and he lose with Golden State. He signed for he could have got more money, but the big man in the middle played for New Orleans and CP3.
Tyson Chandler?
No.
What are you talking about?
The one that always complained about the fouls.
David West.
Yes.
Yeah, he took a pay cut.
Because he wants the ring.
He wants the ring, yep.
He wants the ring.
Another ring.
He won another ring. So
we got about 3 minutes left in the show. What's coming up at 12 p.m. is going to be
Noel Jackson with Music
Satisfaction here on 96.9 FM.
All right, so we're winding down the show, and the last thing on our agenda was a fight that happened last week. I called it the robbery in Brisbane. In and out the show, tell me what you all think about Pacquiao losing to Jeff the no stinging horn.
Well,
go ahead, Joe.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge boxing fan. And, you know, of course, I think Pacquiao won, but I don't think it was just so much of the biggest robbery. I just think that because I thought that Horn was aggressive. I thought that, you know, he pushed the fight. I didn't think that he won, but 117 and 111, which was one of the scores the judges' score, I thought was, I thought
well, that was Teddy. No, that was Teddy Atlas's score in favor of Pacquiao. All three judges scored at 115, 113 in favor of Horn.
No, well, two scored at 115, 113, and one scored at 117, 111.
My bad.
Yeah, the female judge scored at 117, 111.
She just thought he was cute.
Yeah,
and what was so neat about that, Walaska, Rodan, they made a Twitter account with the Hamburglar, for her as her avatar, but the WBO will rescore the fight. But even if they rescore the fight as a victory for Pacquiao, they will not change the result.
They're not going to change.
So the result is going to stay the same. Jeff Horn is the champion. A rematch.
He has a rematch clause. He has a clause in his contract.
That's going to be. I
wouldn't fight him in Brisbane anymore. No, you finna come to my turf. Have that fight in the Philippines.
Have a thriller. I mean, isn't that where
it's not up to Pacquiao anymore. He's not the champion anymore. So now Jeff Horn is going to be able to dictate all of the.
Is that those the terms?
Yeah, all the terms because he's the champion now, and so. But I think Pacquiao does have a rematch clause. Bob Arum. I think Pacquiao win a little bit overconfident in that match. And so, hey, it is what it is. We'll see how it turns out.
We're coming down to our final minute. All I'll say about that is it was a travesty of a judgment, but it did get people talking about boxing, and having it on ESPN, that is a win for the sport. So, look, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Special thanks to Miss Shanna Claiborne for sharing her story with us and telling us about the camp. It sounds like a great opportunity for parents to give for their kids. And look, thanks again for tuning in. Go ahead, fellas.
Well, I want to thank Shanna, my good friend, of course, for also calling in, and want to continue to pray for the Sterling family and also for the Guillory family with their losses.
Yeah, and I just want to thank everybody out there for tuning in. We'll be back same time, same channel next week. And this is Joker P. I'm signing out. Peace to my daughter, Kay Shara, my mama, Gwen Hawkins, and my brother coming in town, Gouda Fresh.
Have a good afternoon.
Peace.